And what I'm doing is I'm training my body. Now, ping pong is a pretty minor example, but they would also look to the work of Foucault, especially in Discipline and Punish, which is to say the very ways in which we arrange ourselves. For example, you'll notice all the chairs are facing forward. So what this does is this orients our body. It orients our perspectives, our muscles, the way we sit, the way we hold ourselves, in a particular way that gives social power to whoever it's constructed towards. For example, you're all facing forward, which by the very arrangement of your bodies grants me a sort of social power because I am up in front of you and then can, talk to you more clearly, and I have a position of authority, not because, I have any credentials or anything like that, but because of the very arrangement of bodies. So for postmodernism, it's a matter of bodies arranged with languages and the influence of languages against bodies. Now, one might say, well, what's the problem with this? That seems completely materialist, right? Because all we have in the world is this crap that are basically bodies, ours and, not inanimate ones. And all we do is talk about them. There's no real controversy to that. That's how we know what a chair is we call it a chair, and we're taught it in language. Well, that's all well and good for the most part. But in this case, I think the struggle of dialectical materialism needs to follow Alain Badiou. And what Alain Badiou says is that there are only bodies and language except for truth. And we should understand that in the most Mallarméan fashion possible. Which is not to say there are bodies and there are languages and there are truths, but that truths are a radical exception to the very consistency of language and bodies. Now this may sound incredibly abstract. Let me give a concrete example. If we just look at language and bodies of France in 1788, there are certain linguistic forms. For example, feudalism and monarchy. When someone talks about the state, linguistically, in their language, they are also referring to the king. Because the king, conceptually, in the language, is tied up to the very notion of state. And if we take the sum of all languages, all the discourses being had, and we take the sum of all bodies, the arrangement of peasants, the arrangement of aristocrats, the arrangement of kings, we get a sum total of the situation in France. And we go a year later, and we can relatively clearly know how these bodies playing out over time will happen. The peasants will continue to grow food. The aristocrats will continue to engage in affairs and play and tax the peasants. And the king will continue to do mostly whatever he wants. And from these languages and bodies, we can trace the course of events, or the course of happenings. But there's something on. Throughout the history of France, there have been riots. There have been bread riots. There have been food riots. There have been riots against the king. There have been kings that have been killed by the people in peasant uprisings or through political intrigues. But something happens in 1789 or 1779. 91 is the terror. 89, sorry. Yeah, 89 is the beginning of the tennis court oath. Sorry, it's been an incredibly long day. Initially, these reform motions are just that. They initially are looking for a constitutional monarchy. They're not trying to get rid of the king. They're just trying to make it so that there's a legislative body that has power in addition to the king. But at some point, someone issues a language or a statement, or to be more precise, a truth that is an exception to all the language and all the bodies. And that is, this is a revolution. right? And so what starts as just some angry, bourgeois city dwellers and some angry peasants, just a normal run-of-the-mill event in France, or most of Europe, for all the time, suddenly is endowed with the status of truth. And the status of truth comes from a dialectical interplay of language and bodies that is not reducible to them. To declare that this is a revolution is contingent on material conditions. I could say, oh, we're now having a revolution. But all that is nonsense. We're not having a revolution. You can look at all of our bodies, right? All the military, all of capitalism, and all the language. And you can absolutely know that we are not in the middle of a revolution. But when the very systems begin to break down, this is where the radical materialist exception comes. This is where truth is found. So, somewhat esoteric, but this is the current war against postmodernism. So, this is a little bit of the theoretical background, and I'm going to go just into how dialectical materialism under Marxism should be understood. And I'll get into a little bit of good old-fashioned Stalinist Hegelianism. So, there are two aspects to Marxist dialectics. There is this dialectical materialism, which is a structure, it's an ideology, it's a theory, it's a philosophy of the world. But then there's also historical materialism, which is the concrete manifestation of struggles. For those of you who are in the Marx class, you read Das Kapital, and what do you learn? You learn about necessary value, which is the amount of labor or necessary labor time, which is the amount of time you need to reproduce the cost of materials and the cost of labor. And then you learn about surplus value time, which is the labor time above and beyond, just the cost to reproduce those values, and so you can make a profit. You learn about absolute surplus value, which is total profit, and then you learn about relative surplus value, and there's all these esoteric philosophical and economic terms. And what this is the essence of a materialist, a structural materialism, right? Capitalism, like all systems, all beings, whether it's from science or religion or economics or politics, has a certain sort of structure. Not the same structure, but a sort of structure. And Marx, especially in Das Kapital, lays out the structure of capitalism. And it's a structure of labor, it's a structure of classes, right? You have the bourgeois who own the means of production, they own the factories, and you have the proletariat who are the masses, who own only their own bodies and sell them for labor. But as a matter of fact, this doesn't tell us anything about what really goes on in the world. Yes, it's a structure that capitalism follows, but that doesn't tell us that Britain is going to imperialize India and murder 100 million people through its capitalist imperialism. It doesn't tell us that the United States is going to declare manifest destiny and push west and exterminate the Cherokee and the Utes and the Iroquois. It doesn't tell us any of that. So what we need is another dialectic, a historical dialectic. And this historical dialectic is possible because of the structural dialectic, right? Capitalist imperialism in India is possible because of the demand for profit. Because you need to revolutionize the means of production, you need to find more markets, more material. But this historical materialism lies in the actual concrete events. And so what we have different factors in historical events. And I'll just touch on these main two factors and call it a close. But we can understand the factors in two primary ways. And we get this from Hegel.